Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're working on the 2026 Ram 2500. Yes, we got to cover this bed. Now, I have tons of videos out there on different kinds of actual tonneau covers, and so really it just comes down to what fits your needs. So obviously a soft roll-up one will give you some concealment. It will give you some weather coverage as you're going out and about, and I've ran those before. However, there's not any security really attached with those other than criminals or opportunists. So if you hide it, maybe they won't cut through it and see it. So think of that when you have to do it. Now, the Ram having the shortest bed, that comes into play too. So if you're going to use one of those roll-up ones or the retracting ones that has the canister in the front of the bed, remember that canister is going to take up about 12 inches, maybe a little bit less, I don't know, depending if you have an 8-foot bed or not. I've had those before. They take up an enormous amount of room. Now right here at the front of the beds where I always keep all of my stuff. I carry about 1,000 pounds worth of chains, boomers, tensioner straps. My hitch is usually in here. So much stuff in bags. So I want those, one, to stay dry, but I want them to stay safe because I want to leave them in here. So if I'm out and about and I need to tow somebody out or I need to be towed out, I have most of the gear that will assist in that. In addition to that, I keep tools in here that are very valuable, so I want to have that. So it's okay to use a soft roll up, but if you use one that has a canister box up front or say a Paragon that folds up, that 12-inch panel is going to slide up against the front. It does cut down on that. So typically on my Rams I like to run an MX4, which is made by Back Industry, and I've ran Yidamoto 3-panel ones on some of the Fords, but depending on the length of the bed that can interfere. I don't want to take this off when I have my hitch on. I want to flop it all over, tie it down. When I get to my campsite I want to flip it back over and keep my bed dry. So we can talk about a lot of things. A Paragon cover, the one I like to use, adjusts in multiple lengths so you can have different openings for your bed, but you're talking that as a $1,600 cover unless you have a coupon, and then sometimes you can get it for $1,400. Maybe you can find a used one, I don't know, but then just keep in mind that those retractable ones with the box and the Paragon are going to slide up and take in to some of that bed front end. So if you like having stuff up there, it doesn't necessarily work. Now we go down to the Back Industries, the G2s, the F1 series or whatever. We have the MX4, which has a nice matte finish, but with those also come a heavy price tag. Great functionality, they last really long. I haven't had any problems with those, but people have said, you know what, Jeremy, you're always trying to show me expensive stuff. Great, you can afford it, but I can't. I need something that works just as well but is just as cheap and easy on the pocketbook. So we are going to do the 4-panel Yidamoto hard folding tonneau, very similar to a G2, but the big difference is a fraction of the price. So we're going to unbox this thing and see. We're talking a $500 price tag versus $1,200, $1,400, $1,600. So this is a compelling argument, especially when roll-up vinyl ones are not secure and they're a couple $100 usually. And there's another one out there by Rough Country. I've never tried many Rough Country products. We're going to try some on the body, but not their bed cover. They have a cool roll-up one. It's vinyl, but does secure. Again, vinyl will fade over time. It will tear. It will do its thing on top of the access for criminals. So we got this bad boy right here. We're going to get it out, and we're going to unbox it. All right, so it did come very well packaged. Now, again, this is going to be on the Amazon. So I'll link that down below. So if you guys want to check it out. Now, it's hard to find products for a 26, right? But guess what? Ram hasn't changed their bed probably since 2010. So along with running boards, a lot of other accessories, you're more than likely going to be okay ordering a 2324 one. So I'll link this down below, guys. But very well packaged so far. We got our instruction manual. We got this. So this will kind of be a how to install it also video, and kind of a review of the product. One thing I want you guys to understand is I am not sponsored by any of these manufacturers. However, if somebody makes something good and it's a cost benefit and somebody might benefit from it, we will talk about it and I will be honest and objective about it. I get nothing from telling you about this product, nothing about the Paragon products. They all fit a different budget and a different need. So we're going to get out the instruction manual and see how this goes. All right, so now we have the pieces that came really wrapped really nice. Guys, I would encourage you to not use any type of knife. Just pull the plastic off. It's like cellophane. Pull it off. You can see here we have our left side. We're going to assemble these two bars and then these two bars. They give you the Allen keys, but if you want to use a T-handle, you're more than welcome to. But they give you everything you need to do the installation. So we're going to put these together, and I'm going to encourage you to always clean off your top rails before you put that on. Just make sure there's no dirt or debris. If it's greasy from whatever you spray on to keep your plastics nice, you will probably be okay with that, except for there's usually a seal up at the front. So we're going to go ahead and assemble these and tighten them down. Okay, so we got our right and our left assembled, and again, we're just going to follow the instructions so I can show you how easy this is or is not. So now we're just going to position the left and right side rails flush, and we're going to do that and make sure they align with the front of the bed. Alright, so when you open your box of hardware, you're going to see a handful of other things. Keeping in mind this hardware kit works in different variations for whether it be a Chevy or Toyota or whatever. So let's just take a quick gander here. So you can see right here, they have this for the clamps, extra plates for the Chevy. We have different little pieces here for a Tundra. When you put on your clamps, you got to realize they're going to give you enough clamps to do your cover. So when we come over here, and we see right here clamps for A version, and we see clamps for the B version. What they mean by that is if you have two pieces or one piece. So if you have version A is a one-piece rail, version B is a two-piece rail. So that's all they really mean by that. Now, keep in mind too, depending on your style, they may change this outside bracket a smidge, so that way you can have this adjuster here. And that's usually because some of these beds have tapered edges, so this basically just kind of pushes up, keep it. In the Ram's instance, we don't have those knobs. So you'll see these little channels here, and you'll see this little groove here. Because it's a B version, we need to put all the clamps in, and they don't give you any specific measurements, so just try and space them out, and keeping in mind, you know, you have your gear here and your tie downs here. So initially just get them kind of set up in there and don't tighten them all down. This is going to go on the back. These go up here, and then this little doodad goes in this groove here. So we're going to get these all tight, kind of set up. You can see I got them all in basically the same places over there. And then before you tighten them down, I would do the front and the back, and then the middle first two is make sure this edge is up here. Make sure this isn't wound up. This looks like it's supposed to overlap, but it's butted up. Not as tight here, but it needs to be butted up here and there. And then you're going to push down on it hard, push the clamp up at the same time. So if you have a second set of hands, you can. But you can just push down and push against this rail and then tighten them down. You don't have to go crazy torquing them, but get them nice and tight. And you're going to go down and do that on all four and do that on the opposite side. Now, so far so good. So we got the bed rails tightened down. We got everything mounted up when it comes to that. Now we're ready to get out this cover. So as you can see right here, guys, it's made out of a pretty nice, what's probably a fiberglass panel. I don't remember reading it, but it feels like it doesn't feel like aluminum, which is good for hail and should be more resilient. But this is the bottom of the panel, so we'll see what the top is. So we come in here and we lay this. One thing that's nice about this piece has a big, huge seal around it. Don't cut off that extra piece of the seal up there. But underneath right here, you can see this rubber flap. That needs to go over the outside of the bed. And they show you kind of right here, but as you're looking at it, it looks like some complex mechanism, but in theory, it really doesn't need to. So it says flap seal, front of the bed. So you can see even right here, this would be the top looking down, how this goes over the front of the bed. And I think that's basically because it has a very, very nice seal underneath here. If we kind of tip it up, you can see that it's got a really nice seal over there, and then it kind of lines up at that corner there. So yeah, just flip it out and make sure that it's over the front of the bed. All right, so you see we got our seal overlapping on the outside, which is really good. And then you have two of these in here with this rubber washer on it. They're going to go in these corresponding holes, and then you're going to push them in. If it's a little offline, then you can just wiggle the top of the cover to get them in and push them down. Now from there, you can go ahead, once you get them in, you don't have to tighten them up. You can go ahead and put these on there. This is the outside, so you're going to be screwing up, I guess the bottom, if you will. And then these are just plastic pretty pieces. So now we're going to go ahead and unfold this and make sure our tailgate fits, make sure the latching system functions correctly. Yeah, really fair looking cover. I mean, for 500 bucks, and yeah, it looks like we're fiberglass on top of here. Very reminiscent of the MX-4. So we're going to get this lined up basically so we can shut the tailgate, and then we'll tighten it down. So once it gets sunny, this will probably start laying flat, but you do have like a double seal in here. You have a seal from this rail, you have a round seal underneath here. So this is just kind of like a beveled edge seal. So I wouldn't get too worried about that. We've got it all lined up in here now. So we are going to get it tightened down. We can see here, this is how it closes on the bed. It's got a big old seal right here, and it fits pretty snug there. So I think we're in good shape to go ahead and fold back the cover now. We can see that it's basically equal on both sides. That's what they want you to check for. So now we're going to get in there and tighten down this cover. So we'll fold it back. So kind of cool about this cover is, very similar to the other ones, is you have a little latch system here. So, you know, it's connected on one side. So some of them have like a cable, if you will. So you can just work on folding back this cover. Now, one thing I will tell you about this cover, see, each panel latches. So you could actually figure out a way to bungee there to here if you just want one panel. So not bad there. Yeah, each panel comes up and folds. And one thing that is different from this cover, guys, is there's no hinge piece here. So I'm going to show you this. And this is why I wanted the quad fold and not the trifold one. Was because as you come up, and it's light enough you can do this one hand, you can see my center point for my hitch. My hitch will fit in here. All of my gear can stay up here and not be intruded by the bed cover being folded up. If you needed full access to your bed, then guys, you would need to take out these two bolts here and just lift it off. The rarity of that's pretty slim. In all the years I had my back flip, I don't think which you can tilt up against the window, then you can't see out the back window. I think I did that twice, and it was to haul a motorcycle. So in reality, with the bed down, this is pretty stout enough. If you had to slide a big box in here and leave your tailgate down, strap it down that way, I would do that. So there is one drawback to this, is it doesn't hinge up if you need full access. But then again, you didn't have full access because that piece on the hinge piece on the back flip stuck out this far, so you'd have to put the tire or whatever up against that. So just a little nuance there. And like I said, each panel latches. So if you are going to then need to pull the whole cover off, then this front piece is latched, and then these are going to be your tie down straps. So now we're going to get this thing just screwed on with those pieces, and that's it. So this video filming took less than 10 minutes. I did get my own T-handle out. I think it's a T5. And geez, it was pretty slick and pretty easy, guys. So the only other thing left is they do provide you with drain tubes, and in each corner you can see that brass nipple sticking up right there, and the tubes just snap on there. If you want, you can peel off the covers so you don't have to run out that little tie down hole, but I'm just going to run them out the top hole that's already there and down outside the bed. Other than that, there's nothing else to it. So we'll see how it holds up, see how it seals, and come back later and talk about that. I'm going to put it on, so by the time you see this video, you'll see the install, you'll see us talking about it, and then after that, at the end of this video, we're going to talk about it, because you can see we got some rain coming. It's cold, it's wintry, it's blistery, it's blustery, it's all that stuff. So it'll be here soon enough so we can actually test it. Because one thing about the Paragon, it was pretty water resistant. I think the back flip was a little bit better when it came to water out, just the way the Paragon mounted up front. It did keep the weather out, but there were instances of pouring rain that the front bags would get wet. So just something to keep in mind. So we will come back and finish this video after we get some nice rain on this thing and see how well it seals. So we'll catch you in just a second.